Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live, like now or podio. Welcome to my Asexual channel. If you're new to this channel, I've been posting videos now for over 5.5 years, educating people all around the world about asexuality and all things to do with asexual life. I specialise in asexual dating and relationships. And in a moment, we're going to be discussing what's the difference between asexual love versus asexual attraction. First of all, though, like I said, if you're new to this channel, you're not sure who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy. I'm author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. So if you haven't already got yourself a copy of that, go and grab a copy now. I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, How to Manage Fibromyalgia to Have Less Pain, More Energy and Feel Happier like a Superhero Rock Star. It's really, really good, even if you haven't got fibro, if you have anxiety, depression, or you just want less pain in your life. It's good. And it's a superhero style book, so of course it's fun. Right, so let's crack on with this show. What's the difference between asexual love and asexual attraction? So first of all, asexuality, if you're new to this channel, new to the asexual community, asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. The A in front of the sexual put together as asexual means that basically we lack sexual attraction. We're absence of sexual attraction. Hi, Ahmed. Lovely to see you. Mwah! Lots of love to you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So yes. So A with the sexual together means absence of sexual attraction. Think of the A meaning absence, right? So there's some people that are new to the asexual community and, they don't understand what asexual means, but that's what it means. Ahmed, love and support from Tunisia. Kiss, kiss. Mwah, mwah. Kisses to you too. Lots of love. Nice to see you. Thank you. And so, so basically, yes. So in terms of this video, I'm going to talk about asexual love and asexual attraction. So these will be love and attractions without sexual attraction in the main, right? But obviously, there's going to be similarities between normal love, conventional heteronormative love, and conventional heteronormative attractions, right? So in terms of asexuality, and if you've watched my channel, you will know that I've mentioned about 8 different types of attractions. Yes, I have multiple attractions that I can section off into different types of attractions for different people. I'm able to do this because I analyze this type of stuff all the time. And in the asexual community, there's a thing called the sexual orientation and then your romantic orientation, which can be very, very different. So, asexual love versus asexual attraction. So what's the difference between asexual love and asexual attraction? So asexual love is when you have like this deep soulmate connection to someone. You have this desire to be with them, to live your life with them, to be with them forever maybe, right? So it depends on what type of asexual you are. So if you're a romantic asexual, the love you are going to feel is probably going to be a romantic type of love, right? As opposed to an aromantic person who lacks romantic attraction. An aromantic asexual lacks romantic attraction and lacks sexual attraction. So an aromantic asexual person, their type of love could be like a deep bestest friend bond type of love, like a companionship. A deep bestest ever friendship and more intimate in terms of kind of like emotions than the average friend they have or the standard friends they have, right? But in terms of romantic asexuals, their love is usually romantic love. It's romantic in nature. So they've usually got love and romantic attraction going on at the same time. And these are usually very prominent together. And so the asexual love in terms of romance, it would be, you would think about kissing and cuddling but with the love as opposed to attraction, the love is someone you'd like to spend like probably the rest of your life with. You'd actually like to be in a relationship with. You can see yourself being in the future with them. You want to plan a life with them. You just feel that, that's the right person for you to be with, right? To be in a relationship with them would feel good to you. Right? Whereas asexual attraction, much like attractions in general, is just that. You can have attraction for someone without actually wanting to be in a relationship with them. So, for example, aesthetic attraction, you might be aesthetically attracted to someone. You might like the look of their face, their eyes, their hair, their nose, maybe their body shape, maybe their frame. And so, you're aesthetically attracted to their look, right? So that is a type of attraction, but you don't actually want to be in a relationship with them. You couldn't see yourself being a forever relationship with that person. Maybe you want to hang out with them. Maybe you even want to kiss and cuddle them, but you can't actually see yourself being in a long-term committed relationship with them because you just can't think like that about them, right? So this is very how these love and attractions are very different. Love is kind of an everlasting thing, although some people like short-term relationships. Some people can love someone and then maybe not love them so much the next minute. But genuinely pure love is very deep. It's very emotionally connected. It's very soulmate type of stuff, and it's something where you feel that person enhances your life in some way. You don't want to be without them in your life. You want them to be in a relationship with you. You believe that you can make each other happy, that you're the right person to be in that relationship with them. And you want to pay them time, attention. You want to spend lots of time with them. When you spend time with them, it might fly by or it might be intensely beautiful, And so it's kind of a much, much deeper soul connection. When you're attracted to someone, you don't need to have a soul connection with someone to be attracted to them the majority of the time. Although some people do need an emotional connection to be attracted to anyone at all. So if you are talking, for example, a demi-romantic asexual person, so someone who's on the aromantic spectrum, a demi-romantic person can only feel romantic attraction for that person when a deep emotional bond has been formed. So they can actually be in love with someone, love someone in a relationship sense, unless they had that deep emotional connection to them, which is why this gets very different for asexuals in comparison to the general sexuals around, if you know what I mean. Because when you're an aromantic asexual person, you don't have the romantic attraction usually, and you don't have a sexual attraction. But when you're a demi-romantic, you can feel romantic attraction, deep romantic attraction, once that deep emotional bond is formed, but it's reliant on that bond. Same as if we go to the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. For a demisexual, they need to have that deep emotional connection in order to feel sexual attraction. And usually with a demisexual, they're going to, if they do get that deep emotional bond, that's the person they're most likely to love and want to be in a relationship with, as opposed to someone they just find aesthetically attractive. And again, going back to the demi-romantic, they would need that deep emotional bond to be connected to that person. And, without it, they couldn't actually be in a relationship with that person because they wouldn't be fully blown love them, if you know what I mean. Ahmed, free romantic is opposite to demi-romantic. Yeah, so free romantic is when you feel romantic attraction to someone, but once you get into a relationship with them, you lose the romantic attraction for them. So it's kind of the opposite to demi-romantic, but demi-romantics don't have to get into a relationship to actually then feel romance. They have to feel romance before they get into a relationship. Whereas a free romantic, once they're in a relationship, they lose romantic attraction. A free sexual person, once in a sexual relationship, loses sexual attraction, often doesn't want sex anymore with that person. So, they're not exactly the opposite, because a demi-romantic has to have the romantic connection, emotional connection, and to feel romance. And in my experience so far of demi-romantics, once they have deep emotional connection and love for one person, that kind of is their focus. They are bonded to that person. And only if they can't be together in some way, if one of them doesn't like the other as much or not as bonded as much, will it not work out, usually. Right? I personally like a demi-romantic because I'm hyper-romantic and I prefer a guy who's just into me and not like hyper romantic after every other woman. Unfortunately, I am what I am, I get attracted to multiple guys. It's just the way I'm born, I guess. I find it hard to sometimes deal with that, but I only want to be in a relationship with one guy, so that's where it's I'm very strict in terms of like wanting to be in a relationship with one guy, because I'm monogamous, I'm not polyamorous. But it can be weird when you have attractions for your friends. It's like, I don't really want to be having attraction right now for you, but never mind. But don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as well if you're enjoying the content as we go along. So but you've got to understand that love is kind of usually everlasting. I mean, this is my personal experience. This is my experience of being in kind of asexual dating and relationship groups and forums, and that kind of specialize in that, study it a lot. So love is sort of it's when you want to take care of each other, but you want to develop and grow as individuals and together. I think that's so important. So with love, it's like there's codependency love, which isn't healthy, and there's co-creation love, if you know what I mean. A co-creation love and relationship is where you want to make something together, and you're not going to completely fall apart if you're not with them. You can lead independent lives, but you co-create, so as in you want to work on goals, ambitions and dreams together to create a future together for you, even if you're doing your own separate things, if that makes sense. So that's a much more healthy, functional type of love, which is what you need to be getting towards. Like, I'm actually self-sufficient in and of my own right. I don't need a guy. I just would like to be in a relationship with a guy eventually, the right guy, because I've got everything I need in my home here. It's not like I really need anything. But yeah, I've always wanted my soulmate to be with me since 2014. I've been searching for him. So asexual love is like a deep, pure, emotionally connected love, like when you feel that you just want that person in your life, but you want them to be in a relationship with you rather than a friendship with you. You want to kiss and cuddle and hold hands with them. Obviously, if you're not romantic, you might just want to share a bed with them. You might just want to cuddle them and be a bit close to them. But it would be like next level stuff. It would be like something you wouldn't do with your friends. It would be something that you would only do with that one person. If you're monogamous, maybe more people. However, some asexuals do cuddle their friends, which is when it gets a bit strange. Strange for me because I personally am monogamous. I've lived a heterosexual life in the past for years, and if you cuddle your friends, it's like cheating, right? And I personally still feel like it's cheating, right? I will hug my friends hello and goodbye, but I will not sit there cuddling them in front of the TV. It's something I don't do. I personally, think that's cheating. And so it's good if you get into a relationship to establish those type of things before you get into a relationship. Like, I ask the guys I meet, do you cuddle your friends? If they do, fine for them, but I don't want to know, in terms of a relationship, for me, they wouldn't be suitable. I'm not into that type of guy who goes around doing that. I don't feel it's right for me to be in a relationship when someone's doing that intimate stuff with someone else. To me, like, cuddling is a very intimate thing you would do in a romantic relationship. So that's where I'm coming from. But you have to establish the boundaries, expectations, and how you really are as individuals before you decide to get into a relationship. So with attractions, you can have things like aesthetic attraction, you can have romantic attraction, clothes attraction. These are attractions I actually have for different people. Clothes attraction. So for me personally, I love street dance movies, and I love the clothes, like street clothes. So like the hoodies and the trainers and the t-shirts and I just like streetwear. I really like streetwear, and so I love that type of look. So if there's like a younger foreign guy who's wearing all these like hoodies and street clothes, I'm like, oh god, that's so cool. I love that type of thing. I also, on the other extreme, I kind of like the biker look, where there's guys wearing like a black jeans or something, or a white jacket with a white t-shirt with leather jacket, like going along. And I like a suit on a guy, black and white suit on a guy. So there's kind of like three different looks, but my predominant clothes attraction is for guys who wear street clothes. I like younger guys who wear street clothes. They look really cool, and I like kind of like feel like I want to cuddle them more if they're wearing a nice hoodie and stuff like that. And I think a guy looks a lot better with his clothes on, personally, than off. Usually I get more attracted to a guy with his clothes on, personally, than off. Usually I get more attracted to a guy with his clothes on, especially if he's got a nice t-shirt and stuff on a hoodie. I'm like, oh, I love your hoodie. So again, this is kind of asexual attraction, like most sexuals would not be looking at someone's clothing, they'd be looking at what's underneath the clothing, i.e. the body parts, right? With asexual attraction, you can actually, like the aesthetics are quite strong, I think, for some asexuals. When you look at them, aesthetic attraction for some asexuals might just mean the face, or it could mean the arms, it could mean the shoulders, the hands, it could mean any kind of like thing. like that, but it could also mean, like I said, the clothes. Some people also love beards. I can't stand beards. I hate facial hair. I really do. I'm not saying I will never get with anyone that hasn't got any facial hair, because it might happen that they've got a bit of facial hair, but personally I prefer clean shaven, especially for kissing. As you know, I'm a kissaholic. I don't have one to kiss, but I love kissing, right? And if a guy's got facial hair when I'm trying to kiss him, it's just really puts me off him in terms of kissing, but nothing really puts me off kissing, but you know what I mean. But I can't be doing with big bushy beards. They're just totally repulsive. But some people are really into beards. So on an asexual dating site called asexuality.com, for example, they have a group for people who love beards. So that can be part of aesthetic attraction, you know. Some people love bald heads. I can't stand bald heads. For me, I like short, dark hair, right? Clean shaven guy, skinny guy, right? Which is very different to the typical heteronormative society. Heteronormative women, they tend to go for muscly, hairy guys who are big. I'm not into that. I'm into the exact opposite, like skinny, young skinny guys. Like I'm not into men really as such. I'm into young guys, do you know what I mean? Like in early to mid 20s ideal age, or if they look younger it's okay, but like I'm saying, it's just like the way I am, what I'm attracted to, right? But with aesthetic attraction, I think it's different for asexuals, because we actually focus, if we have aesthetic attraction, we're more focused on the looks, as in that's a pretty picture. That's like a beautiful painting. Their face is so gorgeous, it lights up the world with their beauty and stuff like that. Their face, their smile, it just like really melts your heart and stuff, especially if you love them. Like, oh, you've melted my heart with your smile. So it's kind of different when there's sexual attraction going on. It kind of like, it kind of filters out into a lot of the other attractions. So if a sexual person is sexually attracted, they will kind of be looking aesthetically at a woman's boobs, for example, and probably thinking about doing stuff with them. Thank you for the thumbs up. Lots of love. So, you know what I mean? It's very different. This is why I'm saying asexual love versus asexual attraction. What's the difference? And giving you some kind of comparisons to the heteronormative stuff as well. So another type of attraction I have is creative attraction. So when a guy is busy working on projects, busy doing stuff, maybe he's working, building a website. I really get attracted to guys that can code websites. It's a really big asexual turn on for me, is when a guy can code websites. For me, that's a very creative practice. I love creative energy. I get a buzz out of it, and I find that's very attractive. The same as the guy does painting or poetry, particularly poetry, because I love poetry. Anything like that's very creative. I have that creative attraction. Again, it might be someone I don't love. I just find the fact that they've got a lot of projects going on and doing a lot of artwork or something very attractive quality about them. But I don't actually want to necessarily be in a relationship with that person. And so another type of attraction is spiritual attraction. Now, this one's very, very important for me, because I feel a very spiritual person. I'm guided by my intuition. And if I don't follow my intuition, something usually goes astray, and it's not good. So I always have to live by intuition. And so I believe, like I've said before, I have an asexual soulmate since 2014. I believe it's Indian, right? And for me, because I've already soul connected to this person that I haven't even met yet, I think I knew him in a previous life, right? Which is kind of crazy, but it's the way it is for me. I kind of already feel spiritually connected to the guy. So for me, having spiritual attraction to someone, having deep spiritual connection to someone is essential for actually being in a love type of relationship, rather than just being an attraction. But I have in the past had some spiritual attraction. Well, I did to particularly one person have some spiritual attraction, but I didn't actually think they were right for a relationship for me. So again, you can have these type of attractions but not actually want to be in a relationship. So sensual attraction. So sensual attraction is when you want to like touch parts of the body usually, right? Or that, So for me, I have sensual, sensual, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, sensual attraction to the guy's upper body, right? So his hair, his cheeks, his nose, his mouth, his face, his shoulders, and his, what I call his frame shoulders going down the arms. That's kind of like, this type of area here is what I get attracted to sensually. Usually, if I'm essentially attracted to someone, it's because I feel closer to them. Maybe they're a really close friend I might feel that with, but I don't want to feel that for my friends. I just really want to feel it for someone in a relationship. But mostly it's the guy that I want to be in a relationship with. But again, a guy I'm attracted to, you know, like aesthetically, I might feel some sensual attraction for as well. So again, you know, it's kind of, yeah, all these attractions are kind of crazy, like emotional attraction as well. So emotional attraction is when you do have a emotional bond with them, and kind of the more you bond with that person emotionally, the more attracted to them you are. You want to spend more time with them. You want to have deeper conversations with them. You want to be around them more. You want to speak to them more. You know, because you're kind of emotionally bonding to them, but that bonding is kind of creating a magnetic type of attraction. In my experience, that type of deep emotional connection attraction is far more powerful than sexual attraction, and that's probably because I'm asexual. So, you know, I lack sexual attraction, and asexuals love through a deep emotional connection. That's how we love the person, right? For a deep emotional connection. So the attractions are great, but if you haven't got the deep emotional connection, you're not likely to actually stay with that person in a relationship. For me personally, I know if I'm attracted to guys, so for example, there's a guy who I'm aesthetically attracted to, who's Indian, and a tiny little bit of romance, right? That's it, right? But there's another Indian guy that I absolutely love and adore, that's, you know, that's love, right? So I'm still single, by the way, but I'm just explaining how I feel. So yeah, it's completely different, right? And so one I'm aesthetically attracted to, a little bit of romance, that's just attraction, right? I couldn't see me being in a long-term committed relationship with a guy like that when I don't feel deeply soulmate emotionally connected to him, right? I just don't. And so, you know, like if I was meeting him, I would like his look and think this is a really nice guy to look at. I love his look and its face. I could look at forever in the sense that he's got a nice face, but I couldn't be in a relationship forever in the sense that he wouldn't be suitable for me because I'm not emotionally connected to him. And, you know, like without emotional connection, you can't really sustain a long-term relationship. You can't sustain a long-term relationship just based on attraction, although a lot of sexuals do. A lot of sexuals will get into a relationship based on sexual attraction. And the problem is down the line, a lot of those type of relationships fall apart because they've got nothing in common. They can't connect to each other emotionally. They can't understand each other because of the lack of emotional connection. Maybe they don't have a spiritual bond. So really they kind of like end up like the sexual attraction glues them together in the beginning. And a lot of the time they can find themselves drifting apart because like the glue's coming apart, right? And when the glue comes apart, it's like, what else is holding you together if it's just sexual attraction? And then you find out that you've got a mismatch of personalities. You haven't really found out and discovered what you both want in life, you know, and so it's not good. This is kind of my experience of the past of being in heterosexual relationships, you know. It's kind of all about attraction. Now, as a hyper-romantic asexual, I can have instant attraction pretty quickly, romance-wise, and that is difficult, you know, because I can fall in love quickly. Usually I don't these days, but there is a person that I really love already, you know, and it is the way it is, right? So it is just like that, right? So I have to just accept that myself, that I love this person, and I can get attracted to other people, right? But just because you have attractions or you love a person doesn't mean to say it's going to work out. You have to decide between you and that other person if it would be suitable for a relationship. But in my experience, if you're just attracted to someone and have different types of attractions, it's not sustainable for a relationship. You can't have a relationship based on just attractions, right? You have to have things in common. You have to have an emotional connection with them. You have to be able to talk about hobbies, interests. You have to be able to see yourself being able to sustain a relationship over the long term. Like, does that person understand you? Do they kind of pick up on your little, you know, like quirky things? Do they know how to speak to you properly? Do they know how to speak to you and communicate with you in a way that's effective towards you? And it's like the finer details of them understanding you. Do they connect with you on the deep soulmate level, maybe that you've never experienced before, that type of deep soulmate connection? I think asexual love is one of the most powerful loves you can ever get in the world. And, you know, I think sometimes it's a little bit scary because if you are deeply emotionally connected to someone, and if you love someone deeply emotionally than ever before, then the deep emotional connection does really tie and bond you. And that can be scary unless you trust each other to hold each other's heart in the hands of the other person and keep it safe. When you are getting into a relationship with someone, you need to know they can hold your heart in their hands and not drop it and take care of it, right? And you have to do the same for them, right? If you are in an unstable relationship and you feel like your heart is all over the place, that's not really a good person to be in a relationship with, however much you like them, right? You need a strong, stable person who is going to, like, if you're monogamous, love you forever, right? You want to be with that strong, stable person who knows what they want and who is, saying, I want to look after you, right? Because when you love someone, you should want to look after them, emotionally at least, right? For me, I don't like doing housework for a guy. It's not my thing. It really stresses me out, and it's not something I like in life in general. But I'm very good at emotionally looking after a guy. I'm very good at being there for him to cheer him on in his work, for example. So you have to find a compatible person. But when you love someone, you do want the best for them, right? But you have to understand that life's full of ups and downs, and sometimes your best might be good enough, sometimes it might fall short a bit. But the point is that you love that person, you try your best, right? You can't promise to guarantee anything necessarily, but you can guarantee that you'll try your best for that person. If you can't even guarantee that, then there's something pretty wrong, right? So you have to guarantee to try your best with that person. That's all you can do, right? But asexual love is just for me, it's on a complete another level entirely, because I can't get deeply emotionally connected to a sexual guy. It's like the guy I have asexual attraction, a little bit of romance. Well, he's not asexual. He's like a heterosexual. And I couldn't get that deep emotional connection with that type of person. He can't even write long messages and stuff but he's a nice person to talk to, right? But that's not sustainable relationship wise. So he's looking for a sexual person. I like an asexual guy. It's as simple as that, right? But asexual love is very, very beautiful. It's not based on sexual attraction, so therefore it's kind of deeper, and it's more soulful, and it's kind of more cute and cuddly in my experience. You kind of take away all the genital, like with sexual attraction, it's all about kind of boobs, genitals, body parts, and a sexual energy, kind of they want to touch you in sexual places and stuff. That's how it's felt to me for years, right? But when you love a asexual person, it's completely different. It's you can be just yourself with them, you can relax with them, you can be comfortable. They love you for you and your personality, not your body, really. Do you know what I mean? You might have asexual attraction, but obviously asexual attraction, people can change in looks, right? So it's very important the person that you love their personality, right? Because that's what's going to see you through at the end of the day. Attractions are more to do with kind of more aesthetic attraction. That can change, can't it? Because a person can change their look. Romantic attraction, if it's deep, usually is pretty conclusive that it continues if you carry on talking to that person, right? Clothes attraction can change with whatever they're wearing, if they're wearing different clothes, right? Creative attraction, they might stop doing their creative pursuits. They might decide to be a couch potato or something, right? Intelligence attraction is something I did not talk about yet, right? So you can get a person called sapiosexual person. That means they are sexually attracted to people because of their intelligence, right? I'm sapio-asexual because I'm attracted to guys because of their intelligence. If a guy's really intelligent, it's a very important thing for me to have in a relationship. I want to be having deep intellectual conversations and talking about anything and everything, right? I like business. I like to talk about business. Some women are not traditionally into that, whereas if a guy talks to me about coding and what he's doing is coding, building a website, I find that very asexually turning on. For me, that means I want to kiss the guy more. I want to spend more time with him. I want to talk to him about how enthusiastic he is about coding a website, because I can build my own websites, but I can't code. Maybe I should learn. But anyway, but yeah, so I just think it's kind of amazing and stuff. So for me, intelligence attraction is very important. I couldn't be in a long-term relationship with someone who wouldn't sustain my mind and stimulate it with mental intelligence, right? It just wouldn't be any good, because I am actually a very intelligent person myself, and I kind of need an equal. If a person was just at home watching TV all the time, I would be bored out of my brain with that person and be like, oh, is this going to be our relationship for like the next whatever years? It bore me. So for me, I have to have someone who's an intellectual. That's why, another reason why I like younger guys, because a lot of them are studying, and they're kind of like doing creative pursuits, they're doing a lot of intelligent stuff and things like that. Like I've got another Indian guy who's a friend, and he started doing a lot of video editing and stuff like that. I was talking to him again. I find that attractive in him because he's talking about, he is Indian, so I guess I have some more attractions for him as well. He's a guy that might be coming to my city, but we can't be in a relationship because he's heterosexual, very heterosexual, and he likes traveling all over the place and I don't. But I find the fact that he does video editing and stuff like that attractive, because I like doing that as well, obviously. But it's just very interesting, isn't it, to see the different types of attraction. But asexual love is usually someone who you want to be in a relationship with, whereas asexual attractions can come in many different forms, but you wouldn't necessarily want to be in a relationship with someone you just have attraction for, if it's just attraction. However, if you love someone and you have multiple attractions for them, and they go together in the same person, that is awesome, because you're more likely to stay with that person because you have multiple attractions for them. So you have multiple reasons to keep being in the relationship and keep sustaining it, right? So if I have a guy that is usually a guy I love would have multiple of my attractions. He'd be aesthetically attractive to me, romantically attractive to me, emotionally attractive to me, spiritually attractive to me, intelligently attractive to me, creatively attractive to me, and probably clothes attraction. You probably have pretty much all the attractions going on for me. And so the whole package is just like amazing. It's like when you go to look up for an ideal mobile phone, for example, and you're looking for the best package you can get. It's kind of like that, but in terms of attractions, right? So you got to, like I could be like, in terms of friends, I could be romantically attracted to one a bit, and like aesthetically attracted to another one a bit, and maybe someone else intelligent or spiritual or creative, but it's kind of like usually one attraction for another person maybe, whereas actually someone I love, I have multiple attractions and I like multiple things about them. It's like they're multiple dimensionally attractive to me, if you know what I mean. So asexual love kind of encompasses a lot more attractions within it, as well as you feel like I would like to spend the rest of my life with this person. Whereas attraction, it's kind of like I'm attracted to a person, might want to kiss, cuddle, hold hands, but I don't actually want to be in a relationship with them. There wouldn't be anything enough to sustain us. But some people do fall in love with someone who's not necessarily got all the attractions. Obviously they might just have some attractions, but maybe the attraction you've got is just so strong that it's so important to you that it leads to love, and it combines into love. So for example, you could just have maybe aesthetic and romantic attraction for that person, but they're so deep, but then you have this deep emotional bond to them too, and you just really want to be with them. You kind of want to hold them in your arms, you want to be close to them, you want to kiss them, you want to cuddle them, you want to speak to them. They're on your mind throughout the day when you're doing other tasks and in between, and you kind of just really, really feel like I just want to be with you, right? It's really, really important I be with you. And you kind of like, that's kind of a love feeling, when you just want to be with a person, even if you're just laid side by side, arm in arm, kissing or cuddling, you just want to be with that person. It feels right. It feels like home. Like home is where the heart is, and when the heart is with that person, you feel like you're home, even if maybe you're not even physically with them at the moment, right? Whereas an attraction is like, you might think like aesthetically, oh, I wouldn't mind kissing that person or holding their hand or something, but it's kind of like you could do it as a one-off or a few times, and it wouldn't matter if you didn't see the person again, or it wouldn't matter, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like the world coming down on you if you don't be with them. Whereas when you love someone, you really, really invest a lot of time, energy, and effort into them, and you really feel strong in it. There's a sadness if you wouldn't be in a relationship with them, So it's very, very different feelings. Like I can, in nightclubs now, as you know, my favourite club when I go clubbing, which I can't at the moment because I've broken my ankle, obviously. Then, in my favourite club, I'll kiss some younger foreign guys because I have aesthetic attraction to them, but I've trained myself now to not get too attached to them. There was one guy I got attached to, wasn't a Bangladesh guy a while ago, but he was no good for me, as you know. But, you know, in general, I can go kiss a guy there, and because I'm aesthetically attracted to him, and that's, you know, I can walk away and go home and know that that's not going to go anywhere because, you know, he's a sexual person usually, right? So that is just like aesthetic attraction. There's no love there. It's just aesthetic attraction for me, right? Maybe a bit of romance possibly, but usually predominantly aesthetic attraction. Because in clubs, like, I learned not to get too close to them, not to ask them too many questions, not to get emotionally attached to them. So yeah, I had to train myself to do that as a hyper romantic. That was quite difficult. But as you know, you follow this channel, so you'll know that. So yeah, so you know, so love is like what you want to be with the person forever in a relationship, that type of thing. If it's romantic love, particularly if it's aromantic love, you know, you lack romantic attraction, then you might not want to be in a relationship with them. You might just feel deep soul buddy with them. But if some aromantic asexuals do want a relationship, and it will kind of be like, you know, the love they feel will be deeper than a bestest ever friendship. It will be more strong. It'll be someone they want to be close to, right? Just because it's not romantic in nature doesn't mean to say it's wrong or not right, you know? It doesn't have to be romantic. And then, you know, like, but if you are romantic in nature, you know, like, it can be very powerful and strong love, you know, someone you want to, like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you because, you know, I'd rather be in a relationship with you than without you. Because obviously, if you're not in a relationship with that person, they can then go and be with someone else in the future. You can't create a future together with them, you know. And so, you know, in the future, I do want to be in a relationship with the right Indian guy. Like, you know, it's very important to me. I find my soulmate, you know, and I'll be with him because, you know, like, I love being on my own. I love being single, don't get me wrong. And I'm used to being single for a very long time. But I've always known I have a soulmate out there, and I won't stop being single unless I meet him and get into a relationship with him specifically, because I've known other guys, no matter how attracted I am to them, I can't actually be in a relationship with them and it be forever. And, you know, I've forced myself kind of, haven't I, over a few years, like, to try and be with different types of guys that aren't actually Indian. But it never works out. And it's because my mind thinks, but what about my Indian guy? What about my Indian guy? It always defaults back to an Indian guy because obviously, you know, I love my soulmate before I even met him. And so it's kind of like, that's the way it is for me. And so it's just kind of strange, but in a nice way, in a crazy way, but in a tearful way sometimes, but it's good. So yeah, but all the different attractions you can have, it's perfectly normal to have some different attractions for different people if you do. Obviously, if you're demi-romantic, you're not really going to feel romantic attraction unless you've got a deep emotional bond. If you're demisexual, you're not really going to feel sexual attraction unless you've got a deep emotional bond, right? That's normal for you. So I hope you kind of understood that attraction, you know, you can have attraction for someone in and of their own, but that's not the same as wanting to be in a relationship. Usually someone you deeply love, you would ideally want to be in a relationship with them, right? So it's kind of like, and the loved one is deeply soul connected, whereas attractions, you can just like admire someone for their intelligence or creativity. You can be attracted, want to talk to them more about creative things, but you don't actually want to be in a relationship with them, if that makes sense. I hope it does, right? So that is kind of love, asexual love versus asexual attractions. And I say asexual love versus asexual attractions because we're talking about this in terms of not experience sexual attraction. Or obviously you could be on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, as we've discussed, which is what a demisexual is. It's someone who's demisexual is someone on the more grey end of the asexual spectrum who does experience sexual attraction, but only when a deep emotional bond's been formed, and not until that. People really confuse demisexuals. Oh, hi Sam. Lovely to see you. This is my best friend. I only blow kisses as a friend, just because I blow kisses to everyone on here. Nice to see you. You come in near the end. So yeah, I was talking about, yes, you should comment though, because Sam's got PC problems delayed you. You should comment because you found asexual love. My best friend Sam has found the asexual love of their life. Well, I found their love of their life for them actually on Asexualistic. So that's really good. So Sam is very qualified to talk about asexual love. So feel free to type in the chat, Sam. So yeah, I was explaining that asexual love is when you are deeply like emotionally connected to someone, and you want to spend your rest of your life with that person. So yeah, Sam's got the love of their life. So Sam is non-binary, an asexual romantic person, and their partner is asexual romantic non-binary person too, and they are great together. And Sam has moved to live near their partner, and they've been together about a little over 9 months now, isn't it, Sam? So just, don't give up hope. I'm so glad Sam came on the show in the chat, because Sam is a very, very good example of true asexual love with their partner, right? And so, and Sam was looking for their partner for 8 years, I think, before, weren't you? I think it was 8 years. And so, you just don't give up. But when you find that person, don't let them go, right? Because I keep telling people on this channel, you better be ready when the person you love shows up in your life, right? But sometimes the timing isn't right. But, you've got to understand in life, things happen. Sometimes the timing might be off, but you still got to take that opportunity anyway, right? You know what I mean? Don't just think, oh, I can't do this now. And because you need to take opportunities when they arise. You need to take risks in life, and you need to think, how can I make this happen? Sam, 9 months, 1 week, and 5 days we've been together. Woo! Asexual love, people, asexual love. But yeah, Sam knew quite quickly, didn't you, Sam, that the person is for you, and you just really happy together. And the fact that you've moved to live near them, I always say, for asexuals in particular, you need to actually move. You either need to find a mover, someone who moved to near you, or you have to move yourself. Most asexuals are not going to find someone for a relationship right on their doorstep. It's not going to happen. So I'm in so many different asexual groups, and me and Sam run 5 groups together, right? 3 are dating, right? And people are very kind of like, oh, I'm not going to go out of my city. I'm not going to go anywhere. I need someone in my city. And they will compromise and be with a sexual person, for example, because they can't travel. Or, you have to understand that asexuals are rarer. And if you really need to be with another asexual, you can't be with a sexual person. You need to think, what am I going to do to make that happen, right? And yes, we can stay in our comfort zones and never get out of it and never do anything different. But is a comfort zone really where you want to be for the rest of your life? Or do you want to find the love of your life, right? It's scary as hell sometimes, but it's also the best experience of your life. Sam, and yes, I was looking for true love for around 8 years. I knew after we first video chatted, I straight away deleted all of my dating apps before we confirmed the relationship. This is what I like about Sam. They're very like me, straight in there. I'm not in a relationship though, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, don't you, when it's the right person? You just know that. And so, yeah, deleted all the dating apps. Yeah, I've deleted Facebook dating. Yeah, so I think it's very important, But, when the person, I say, you better be ready when the person shows up and don't miss your opportunity. But also you need to understand in life, sometimes it's not the right time, but you make it the right time. You don't say, oh, my life's so busy now that I'm just not going to bother. Right? You have to understand, sometimes people have kids. I'm not into having kids. And they'll be like, oh, we're pregnant. The person's pregnant. We didn't mean that to happen right now, right? But it happened, and they wanted it to happen at some point. It just happened earlier on in their life, for example. They don't go around now saying, oh, well, it's regretful and we shouldn't do it. They take the opportunity to have that now, because you have to understand whatever happens in life happens for a reason. Right? And the reason will reveal itself. And so maybe you think that it isn't the right time for a relationship, but maybe actually it's exactly the right time, because maybe that person's come into your life when you do need help. You need encouragement, you need support, you need a friendly ear, you need someone to understand you. There's a lot of people who have disabilities and special needs and mental health difficulties in the asexual community, but you can still find love. You can still find someone to support you in that. You can still find someone who cares about you. If a person really genuinely loves you, it won't matter. Your differences are your beauty. And so they will still be with you, no matter whether you've got mental health problems, disabilities, difficulties. You work through those together. No one is perfect, right? You're not going to find the absolute perfect person. But if you learn to look at people's imperfections as their perfection, if you like, the world is a more beautiful place, people become a lot more attractive, right? Like, I like guys who are different. I'm not interested in guys who are all the same and boring. It doesn't do anything for me. I get attracted to autistic guys, for example. It's very different, isn't it? Because I like that energy. I like the fact they work on lots of projects. I like the fact that, they're kind of like young. I like younger guys and they're kind of young in their personality. So my personality goes naturally with them. So, Sam, I have disabilities that I struggle very much with, but still have found love. Thank you, Sam. Yeah. Oh, hi, J-Star. So yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, I think it's really important, because a lot of asexuals are like, oh, I've got this disability, I've got this mental health problem, I can't, no one will love me. And you have to just stop thinking that way. You have to think that you are worthy of love. Just because you've got a disability or mental health condition doesn't mean to say you're not worthy of love. You're worthy of love and respect and care. You're worthy of someone treating you really well. You're worthy of being in a relationship with, because you'll still add value to that person's life, And once that person loves you for your personality, they can't get that type of personality anywhere else. It's not like you can transfer your personality to someone else. Maybe they'll clone you one day, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, we're talking about attractions here, but I haven't actually mentioned one of the major attractions is personality. And I'm really glad Sam's here, because personality is, at the end of the day, kind of one of the ultimate attractions, isn't it? Because, like I said, looks can change. But if you love someone's personality, you love someone's soul and being, that is one of the most major attractions that will glue you together forever, because the person's so different. You can't get a carbon copy of anyone. So if you meet that one person you really click with, you just love their personality, then you should be with that person, right? You love their personality as well as loving their heart and soul and mind and emotions and everything, right? You should be with that person, right? And life is, like, not going to be easy necessarily, but usually the things that challenge us the most are the things that we need to go towards, right? Because usually anything that's difficult in life is what we really want, and it's hard to get, right? If we have an easy life, it gets boring, right? Sam, it is indeed. It's much more important who a person is on the inside. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Sam. You're really helping now. Yeah, it is much more important what's on the inside, because if you're going to spend if we're talking about asexual love now as opposed to just attraction, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone, you need to know that you value their personality more than anything, and you just really love them as a being, as a soul, because that person you're likely to spend the rest of your life with, if you love their soul and their being and their personality, and you just, like, when you're near them or close to them, or you want to be all the time, you can just feel that they feel right, they feel familiar, they make your heart like sing and leap, and you just feel like you're at home. I think when you have proper asexual love, you feel like you're at home. Like, home is where the heart is, right? And so when you feel that person in your heart, you feel like you've always got a home. Even if you don't live with the person, you feel like, my heart's with them, and my heart's my home, and therefore my home's with them. Like, I even though I'm not in a relationship at the moment, I know I'm meant to be with an Indian guy, because that's where my heart is, right? Even being around Indian guys or in Indian groups, I just feel much better and at home, right? So I know already kind of my home. Well, my home is where my heart is, and my heart is with an Indian guy. I already know that, because when I try to be in a relationship with guys who aren't Indian, it can be nice. I can be really attracted to them. I can kind of want to make it work, but it's kind of, I want it to, in a forced way, But when I'm actually thinking about being with an asexual Indian guy, the right Indian guy for me, I believe he's asexual, then it's not forced. It's just natural for me to want to be with that person, And so I think that the love is much more natural. It's much more like you're drawn to that person naturally. You just do love them. You can't help it. And it's kind of like, they're a part of you already. And, that your hearts are beating as one, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of like you feel familiar, like you're at home, you're at peace, you just belong together. I just think it's really nice. I hope one day to find the right Indian asexual guy to be in a relationship with, who will love me as much as I love him. Naturally, really important to me to do that. And so, yeah, I just think, asexual love's the best, in my opinion. I'm very biased towards asexuality, obviously. But, with what Sam's got with their partner, after 8 years of searching, I mean, me and Sam have been through a lot of heartache and pain together, both of us looking for someone that you will find him. Oh, thank you, Sam. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm determined to get my Indian guy no matter what, aren't I? So I just got to find the right one who loves me back just as much as I love him. Yeah. So, I'm hopeful. I'm so determined to succeed whatever I do, so I think it will happen. I keep meeting Indian guys. Usually they're not the right ones for me. I like one person. But yeah, so asexual love, I just think, is very different to being attracted to someone. Like I said, I can have multiple different attractions, but I wouldn't want to be in a relationship forever with those people, because I just don't feel like I could be with someone in a relationship forever just based on attraction. You just can't sustain that. If you haven't got things compatible in common, if you don't have an understanding of each other, if you haven't got that soul or emotional connection, it's really not going to work out long term. And I think that's why quite a lot of heterosexual relationships fail, for example. I just think a lot of it is based on not much attraction, but sexual attraction, maybe aesthetic and romantic as well, but I just think the sexual attraction just gets so in the way, it kind of clouds their judgment a lot of the time. And so I think when you strip away the sexual attraction, you're left with kind of many more kind of like practical things, like how are you connected in the mind? Can you have deep emotional, intellectual conversations with him or her or whatever? For me, it's a him. Can you like talk to them about anything and everything? Can you share your secrets with them? Can you totally trust them? Do you feel comfortable enough to say things you don't actually think they might like in front of them? Can you be yourself around them? Can you just like lean into who you are? Can you just be your true authentic self? I think this is all important stuff to look out for in terms of relationship and love. Whereas an attraction is just kind of like, I wouldn't mind kissing you, that type of thing, or cuddling you, but I don't actually want to be in a relationship with you, But like I said, when you love someone, you usually have multiple attractions for them at the same time. And some people who take a while to fall in love, they might get attractions for that person in the beginning before it develops more into love, because maybe they haven't emotionally connected with that person straight away. And if they haven't, because emotional connection for asexuals is usually what love's based on, then, if there's not an emotional connection there at the beginning, they probably wouldn't feel love for that person. They probably feel more attraction. So there are times when the attractions can lead to love, right? That's quite common, for it to be that way, that you get aesthetically attracted to someone or you get emotionally attracted to someone. But it's when you develop emotional connection with them, usually is when love starts to happen. It's when you feel that for them, and also when they understand you in a way that no one else understands you. They might say or do little things that's very like, oh, only my person would know that about me. You know what I mean? My soulmate would know about me, because of the way they say things, because of the little things they do, because of the way their mind thinks, because they know and understand who I am as a person without even like fully knowing me, if you know what I mean. They just naturally know who I am, and naturally know what to say and do and think, and they're very similar. I think when you meet your soulmate, they're very similar in thinking, so they can kind of know what you're thinking before you've told them, because they just so like you, if that makes sense. So yeah, for me, soulmate connection is really important. But some people can be spiritually connected to multiple people, but not actually be in a relationship with someone. I personally prefer to have a deep soulmate connection uniquely with that one special romantic person to be in a relationship with. For me, I can connect emotionally and quite a lot of people quickly, but I just think with the person I love, it's different because it's like a very soulmate connection like nothing else. It's kind of like they understand you fundamentally without you even having to tell them what you're like, because they just know what you're like. They can feel it, sense it, and get an understanding of it from just talking to you, for example. So, I think it's really important that you understand the difference between asexual love and asexual attraction, and that this video helps you somewhat in, trying to decipher whether you feel love or attraction or both for someone, because if you're a person that's not yet in a relationship and maybe you're thinking about getting into a relationship, maybe there's someone you like and you're not sure, then you can watch this video and see how you feel about them and marry up with, is what I'm feeling love or is what I'm feeling attraction. And like I said, though, it's quite common for you to have maybe multiple attractions for a person or some attraction for a person before you actually become in love with them or love them. Because for many people, like, you could like experience like a lot of attraction first, but if you're not emotionally connected with them, then you wouldn't probably feel love, because love for asexuals particularly comes from that emotional connection, right? And it's only through spending time together, through talking together, through sharing ideas and secrets and innermost thoughts and feelings that you create that emotional connection. Some people like say to me, "Oh, how do I create an emotional connection?" That is how you do it. You have to like be sharing your deepest, most intimate thoughts and secrets. It's kind of like a lot of connection like that is by talking. It's about revealing who you are as a person. It's about, showing your vulnerable side, letting your emotions be with that person, and knowing and trusting that they're not going to hurt you in the process. They could still do that. You've got to be strong enough to know you can cope with that, which is not always easy, right? But we've got to, if we've been heartbroken before or had bad relationships in the past, we've got to not let that affect our future relationships, right? We've got to understand that we need to open up our heart again and be vulnerable, right? Some people will hurt it again, some people won't. But the person who loves and adores you, they are not going to intentionally go around hurting you. Because if they're intentionally hurting you, they're not the right person for you. It's not love. That's kind of just savage, you know what I mean? They shouldn't be hurting you. They should be holding, like I said, when you love someone, you should be holding each other's hearts in your hand and keeping them close and loving them and looking after their heart. It's very important, right? You learn to look after the other person's heart and treat it with tender, loving care as much as possible. Like, ask yourself, am I doing the best thing for that person? Am I being loving towards that person? Am I being caring towards that person? How is that person feeling? How am I making them feel? How do they feel, right? Doesn't mean to say that you ignore your own feelings and emotions, but it means to say you need some awareness of how life is for them and how you can be more caring, compassionate, kind and supportive towards them in their moments, right? This is what love's about in comparison to attraction. So you might just feel aesthetically attracted to someone. You're not really going to have that level of care about them. You know what I mean? You're just going to be like, I'm aesthetically attracted to you. I'm going to want to kiss you, but that's going to be it. Whereas someone you love, you're going to want to hold their heart as a precious thing. You're going to want to cherish them. And a good thing to remember when you get into a relationship is always to appreciate that person. Because what a lot of people do, they get into a relationship and they get complacent after a while. They start taking the other person for granted. They stop asking them out for meals. They stop phoning them. They stop video chatting with them. They cut down the amount of time, right? Love should be where you come together more, like you're video chatting more, you're seeing each other more, you're talking to each other more, you're understanding each other more, while still maintaining your own separate lives as well, right? You've got to respect that, but you should still be as enthusiastic to see them, whether it's day 1 of your relationship or it's day 55,000 of your relationship. You know what I mean? You should still be thinking, all right, before I got into a relationship with them, did I ask them to see them? Am I making enough effort to make sure that I'm asking to see them more? Am I making enough effort to make sure that they feel valued and special by me? Are we equally trying to contact each other and stuff like that? It's very, very important that you understand that when you get into a relationship, a love relationship, you have to maintain that special emotional connection, bond and love, right? It takes work, right? Don't get complacent thinking, oh, I've got that person now, I don't need to be that way. You do. You still need to maintain that closeness. You still need to, you know, not take them for granted. You ask them round to your place. If you like them coming to your place, ask them out on dates. You should be having date nights. If you know, even if you're in a relationship for a while, you have date nights like once a week or something. You go out for a meal together, or you have a movie night in together, that type of thing. You know, you should always be making time for each other, right? Because you have to understand that even if you love someone, that person can still walk away if they want to. So you shouldn't take that person for granted. At any given point, anyone can walk away in a relationship, even if they're emotionally invested in it. So you shouldn't take that person for granted. You should be loving, caring, committed towards them, and always trying to figure out, like, am I being as loving as I used to be? Am I as being caring as I used to be? How are they feeling? I am now saying I'm in a relationship for X amount of months, but actually I've not been asking them for a date. I've not been taking the time to chat to them because they're already with me. You don't think like that. You think that your relationship is always kind of like there, and it's new and it's fresh and it's alive, and you know, I've got to maintain this connection and this teamwork with a person. You know, like if you were working as a team, you don't all of a sudden say, oh right, I'm going to stop working as a team, and then your whole, you know, the whole thing collapses, doesn't it? So you have to understand that, you know, once you love someone, you know, you're going to want to maintain and sustain a long-lasting relationship with them. Whereas if you're just attracted to someone, maybe you are going to be attracted to a friend or something for years, but you're not going to have that kind of level of desire to be in a relationship with them, and you want to keep the friendship going. Yeah. And you know, so if you're going to be able, if you keep friendships going, then you should be able to keep an actual relationship going. You should be able to, if you don't take your friends for granted, you should be able to not take the personal relationship for granted. But just remember, sometimes romantic love can be a bit different to friendship, right? Because friendship, you know, like you might have known them a lot longer as a friend, whereas romantic love, you might get into a relationship for a year and then start kind of thinking, oh, I've got them now. Because with friendship, people can walk away more, right? Because there's no like actual relationship, being in a relationship attachment. Whereas when you're actually in a relationship with someone, you've got that relationship attachment there, and so you might be thinking, oh, I've got them now. But you have to always understand that anyone can walk away at any given moment. So you have to understand to cherish the time with them, and to still be asking them out, still be asking to see them, still be equally kind of like having conversations, instigating conversations, and making time for that person. And it's good when you get into a relationship to actually have conversations about how you think the relationship's going, how is the other person feeling in it, you know, like is there anything you need to discuss and talk about, you know. And that's just effective communication skills. You know, you should be communicating backwards and forwards with the person you love all the time. And, you know, having these two-way conversations about how you're feeling, what you're thinking. Are you feeling good in the relationship? Is there anything that needs improving? What can you do together? How can you grow together? Maybe you want to do a course together, where you want to do baking together. Maybe you want, you know, like you need kind of like to share things together to grow that love. You know, love should be growing and flowing and flourishing, not stagnating, right? You want it to grow, flow, and flourish, and to just keep blooming like beautiful flowers, blooming flowers, woo, all the blooms. And it should be gorgeous like that. And you want to try and get to that level as much as possible. But you also got to know that you're going to go through tough times together, right? So tough times that actually show you that you love the person. Because if you can go through tough times together, then you know that you're equipped for the rocky weather, if you know what I mean. If you're just having a, woo, this is great relationship all the time, and there's nothing rocky about it ever, and nothing like, kind of like challenging you, you know, maybe people are not being their true authentic self in the relationship, right? So it's all about, you know, like being able to see the person's best and see the person at their worst, but still thinking the best you can about them at their worst, if you know what I mean. But this, you know, this is like love compared to attraction, where you don't actually need to be in a relationship with that person. You may be just attracted to that person. It might be kind of a bit magnetic and kind of like, oh, I'm attracted to that person. I want to spend time with them because I like their way they look, or I like their mentality. But you don't actually, like, you couldn't actually see yourself living day in, day out with that person, wanting to chat to them day in, day out and spend the rest of your life with that person in a relationship, right? It's different. So, you know, just bear in mind when you come, if you want a relationship, you know, assess whether you are attracted to that person or you love that person, but also know that for some people, not like me, because I'm hyper-romantic a lot of the time, but for a lot of people, you know, love can take time. And obviously Sam's very similar to me in the sense that I just like straight away, yes, get in there. Me and Sam are a bit similar in the sense that we don't like messing around. But I do, like sometimes it is, if you find the love of your life, it's like, well, why, if you've searched for years for the love of your life, and then the opportunity presents itself, like Sam's like, yeah, me and Sam are best friends, we love it. So it's like sometimes when the opportunity presents itself, it's like, why waste any more time? Like Sam was looking for their partner, their ideal partner, the love of their life for 8 years, right? And Sam could have thought, oh, right, they're here now, I don't know what to do, or they could have done what they've done. And I know personally the challenges that Sam has had to overcome to get to live near their partner. I mean, they have been huge for Sam, right? I'm not going to go into it because it's their personal stuff I don't talk about, right? But they've had huge challenges to get through. And it's taken a lot of strength and courage for them to do that, right? But their partner is worth all that to them and so much more, So it's an easy choice in the sense that there is no choice because they want to live near their partner, but they've gone through a lot of stuff, like got out of their comfort zone a lot to be with their partner. So, like if you're really searching for a partner, if you find that special someone, that rare gem, don't let them go and just like, oh, right, they're here now, I'm not going to bother. That's not appreciating what the universe is giving you, right? If the universe presents you an opportunity and say, here's your person, this is who you've been waiting for all your life, just go for it, right? Work it out, right? People either make excuses or they do the work it takes to get the life and person they desire, right? Don't be an excuse maker, be an action taker, right? Do the actions it takes to get to be in the position you want, to be in the relationship you want, if you want a relationship, right? It's very important. So many people are on asexual dating sites and groups. I want to find a relationship. I'm like, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? What dating sites are you on? Who are you talking to? Have you video chat with anyone yet? Are you on the phone with someone yet? It's like, what I mean? You have to push forwards and you have to be proactive, not reactive. Like a lot of people, think, all right, I want a relationship, but I'll just stay here in groups lurking and I just won't do anything. That is not proactive, people. That is just going into the background, right? If you are serious about getting into a relationship, you should make that like one of your full-time jobs. Like for me, finding my asexual Indian soulmate since 2014 is like a full-time job for me, right? You can always say it's like an obsession in a healthy way, not a bad way, because I can clearly be on my own. But, like you kind of have to get a little bit like obsessed in the terms of like, I want to find this person in terms of enthusiasm and energy obsession, if you know what I mean, in terms of like plowing your time, energy, and effort, like determination into that person. You don't want to be possessive over a person or obsessive to the point of destruction of yourself or the other person. But what I'm saying is you need to be like relentless in your pursuit of finding what you want in your life. There's a lot of people that don't believe you should go after a relationship. They just believe if it'll happen, right? I don't actually believe that. I believe you make it happen. We're in the 21st century now. We're not in the dark ages where, people drop hankies, which some coaches are still teaching these days. A lot of coaches are still teaching women, drop your hankies and guys will come running, or the equivalent of that these days, right? Like, oh, you've got a dog, drop its lead. Oh, the guy happens to be there and pick it up. This type of this bull rubbish, right? You need to understand we're the 21st friggin' century now, right? Women can approach guys, right? It's okay for women to approach guys, right? You probably don't want as a female to be just doing all the work with the guy. The guy needs to put effort in himself, right? If you're looking for a guy and you're a woman, right? But obviously there's lots of different types of genders these days, right? There's it's not just male and female anymore. And so you've got to understand that you've got to know what you want, know what you're looking for. But when it shows up, just don't go, I don't know what to do with it now. Because like Sam found that, didn't you, Sam? Like me and you both found that a lot of people in the asexual community, they're like, oh, an opportunity's presented itself, but I don't know what to do with it now. It's like, I'm lost. It's like, well, I mean, luckily for Sam, those people were wrong for them. And if a person, really can't see the opportunity in front of their face, then they can't actually be that right person for them if they don't take any action in the end, It just means that, yeah, way too many of them, said Sam. And it's true, there is way too many. And then people complain, I haven't got a person, right? You've got to understand, right? You have to know this, right? So if you're a person, right, you live at home with your parents, particularly, right? Me and Sam don't live at home with our parents, but say you do. You've got to understand your parents are not going to be around forever, right? Your friends, a lot of them are going to get paired off anyway. They're going to get married or be in relationships themselves, right? You know, you're going to get older, right? And if you want a relationship, you should be actively seeking it to make your life better for the future if you want to be with someone, right? Like, I'm an only child. I love my parents to bits. They're not going to be around forever. I don't live with them though, so I'm perfectly capable of looking after myself, right? I don't actually need a guy because in terms of like, I've got my own money, I've got my own place, I don't need a bloke, right? But I still would like to be in a relationship in the future. A healthy relationship, right? With the right Indian asexual guy, right? Ideally, that's what I want. But you know, you've got to know what you want, but you've got to understand that you've got to be proactive about it. You know, I hear some people go, oh, I'm too old for a relationship now. It's like, for God's sake, you're never too old for a relationship, right? My auntie remarried. I think she was in her 60s when she got remarried, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't bite the bullet of, oh, I'm too old now. It's just ridiculous, you know, but you've got to want it badly. It's got to be really, really important to you. You know, like, you've got to think long term, like, do I want to be single forever? Or would I like someone who's like a companion for me, who understands me, who cherishes me, who wants to spend time with me, who gives me that closeness that I desire? You know, and if that's something you want, rather than just crave it, go and find someone who can hopefully give you that, right? Some people are like to me, oh, Sandra, you should just wait for it to happen and someone will come along. I've waited. In the past, I used to be that type of girl. Just wait for it to happen. I got a load of shite coming my way, excuse my language, right? A load of rubbish guys came my way that weren't compatible at all because I wasn't seeking out what I wanted. I was just having guys show up in my life that I was actually attracted to, but were no good for me, right? I would much rather go and find a guy that I believe is more compatible for me and compatible for me, you know, than have guys approach me that I ain't even interested in or they're not suitable for me. You know, it doesn't mean to say that every guy that approaches me is not going to be suitable for me. There might be someone that approaches me that is suitable for me, right? Because they're being proactive as well. But what I'm saying is, personally for me, is if I'm already on the lookout for the type of guy I want, and a guy shows up and interested in me and pursuing me, I'll kind of know if he's going to be the right type of guy for me because I've already been actively looking for it myself, rather than a guy show up and I haven't got any other options and this guy plonks himself down and go, I'm the person for you, you know, because I haven't been looking. I've just been narrow-minded, oh, this must be the person because he happens to just be here. No, right? That's not the way it works in life. You get rubbish if you just accept, you know, like this person's plonked themselves here on you, right? But, you know, like, having said that, that's very different to actually someone seeking out you as a type of person that they would be interested in, right? So obviously there will be some person that shows up in your life that is right for you, like your soulmate, like Sam's person showed up in their life. They actually showed up on Asexuality and I connected them really quickly. I think within less than 24 hours with each other, you know? And I was the one who approached their partner for them to be with Sam. And so, you know, and so it can happen really quickly and the right person can show up. But I connected those two. I'm so happy. It's the best thing I've ever done for someone in my life, apart from I have saved a life. So I have to say that's very important too. But yeah, you know, it's just really important that if you're searching for someone, that you find the right person for you. You know, and like Sam said, 8 years they've been looking. So you can imagine when they found their partner, their person, they were like, you know, like, let's go for it. Let's not waste any more friggin' time. So many people in their life waste time. You know, umming and ahhing and, you know, like, if you know that person's the right person for you, then go for it, right? Because love is love at the end of the day. And it's very magical, special and rare for some people to find it, you know? And so don't push it away. Welcome it with open arms. Think, my God, someone loves me. How awesome is that? How incredible and amazing is that? You know, they showed up in my life, right? But, you know, like, you know, you might show up in the life of a person who's going through a really bad illness at the time. But it doesn't mean to say you can't be in a relationship, you know, with the person who's ill, or the person who's ill think, oh, I'm too ill to be in a relationship with you. It's like, no, they've shown up in that because they're there to comfort you, your hour of need. They're there to be with you. They've shown up because you actually did need them, right? Maybe not, maybe, you know, like you thought about them in a romantic way, but then the person shows up and they happen to be there caring for you, right? And so you have to understand that sometimes people, they just show up in that way at that time because it actually is the right time, even if it doesn't seem the right time, because there's so much going on maybe in your life, but actually you do need some support. You need someone who's like there by your side as a sidekick, cheering you on, being supportive. Like, you know, like my life can probably get a lot busier in the next year, right? I'm going to be really busy. But the person who's the right person for me will be cheering me on, will be by my side, will be amazing. Sam, we are both extremely grateful and happy too. Oh, I'm glad about that. I'm really, really glad, you know. It's so well deserved. I think, like with Sam's just like, you know, after 8 years, they've got the person, they can come off dating sites, they don't have to deal with that rubbish anymore. And for me, that's just what I look forward to now. I'd rather be with one special guy in my life than be with than talk to tons of guys on Facebook dating, for example. I'd rather talk to the guy that's my guy rather than talk to people that don't really give two hoots about me. What's the point? You know, it's just a waste of life. Rather than keep searching for someone, I want to find the right person, then I don't have to keep searching. I'd rather be, obviously it's got to be someone who loves me as much as I love them, who appreciates me and not take me for granted. But you know what I mean? It's much better. But if you like, you know, there's some asexuals and they like, you know, they're lonely and they're like, you know, I'm lonely, I think I'll never find the right person. But I ask you, what are you doing about it? You know, are you doing anything about it if you're lonely and, you know, worried you can't be the right person? Are you being proactive like Sam was? Right, there's also John, who's a friend of mine. He is married to his asexual partner. He's asexual, she's asexual, both romantic. John, came to one of my asexual meetups, and it's because of my meetups that inspired him to go to other meetups. And from that, he spent 3 months relentlessly going to every meetup in the UK, doing even stuff out of his comfort zone that he would never usually do because he was introverted and he was doing extroverted things, because he wanted to find the love of his life. And he got her. He's married to her now. He's got the soulmate of his life forever. They are beautiful together. You know, he's just interested in his woman. He's not interested in any other women. He's dedicated to her, but they're married. They live together, you know, and he's so happy, you know, and I'm so happy for him. Because that type of happiness is very rare. You know, some people like, oh, what's the point of a relationship, right? And I have thought that myself in the past, you know. But if I think about true love, you know, and you spending that time with the one you truly love and being close to them and spending the rest of your life with that one person you truly love, it's just magical beyond compare. You know, like it's something you could give your single life up for if you wanted to, because you know that what you have with them is so precious and rare and true and magical and special that it's worth taking that risk over. It's worth being with that person because it's something you can't really get on your own. You can get contentment, you can get happiness on your own, you can be happy in and of your own right. But, you know, for some people, there is that thing that's like maybe missing or not quite complete, you know. I know they say that you should love yourself enough to be complete and whole by yourself, which I do agree with, but there is always, for some people, that little bit of like something missing that should be in their life because, you know, if it is a soulmate particularly, you know, it's like they're a part of you already. And if you don't meet that person, you can be happy on your own, but not as fully fulfilled or satisfied because that part of you is a little bit hollow. It's got a little bit of a hole there, if you know what I mean. And when the piece of the jigsaw puzzle fills that hole in your heart and it just fits snugly, it just feels incredible and amazing because it's like, wow, I've got my person. I really appreciate them. I really love them. We fit together like awesomeness. And it's just so wonderful and brilliant, right? But you have to see it. You have to be awake to the fact that it will happen if you want it to happen, if you're determined enough to make it happen. And you have to look at the benefits of relationship. So many people look at the negatives of relationship. There are lots of benefits, you know. You want to be with a person who wants to create a future with you. You want to be with a person who lights up your life, who makes you happy, makes you smile, and feel emotional, you know. Like some people are so scared to feel emotional. It can be really scary, but at the end of the day, to feel emotions is a beautiful thing. Like as a society, a lot of the time we're taught to block out emotions. We're taught to if we're sad, we shouldn't show our sadness. If we're frightened, we shouldn't show it. And like a lot of people have been taught to keep their emotions to themselves, right? Of course, you have to have constructive emotional outlets. Like, you can't start shouting and screaming at someone. You know, if you need to shout and scream, just go and do it outside and open the door, right? That type of thing. But, you know, you need to be able to express your emotions in a way that is vulnerable and open and honest. You have to lead with your own heart, and you have to understand that relationship can be a wonderful thing. You're like building a life together, building a future together, going places together, doing things together, experiencing life together, cheering each other on in your own projects and your own work and your own life. You know, like connecting emotionally, connecting on deep, fundamental, bestest ever friendship level, connecting in the mind, the soul, the spirit, you know, maybe in the body with some people, but less likely for asexuals, I think, you know. And so it's just like, you have to understand that there are benefits to being in a relationship. And some, I think, of us have been single so long that it's harder to see the benefits of a relationship, maybe, because you're so used to being on your own and single-minded. But if you actually find the right person to be in a relationship with you, it can be the most wonderful, magical melody of your life, right? It's like the stars and the moon have lit up the sky, and every night is beautiful bliss, and it's just like glistening, and all the little stars are coming out, and it's just like magical and mesmerizing. And you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is like asexual love. And I just feel so at one with this person. I feel like the universe is like a one with my soul with them. Like, we are the universe co-creating together in harmony with each other. When I say co-creation, I don't mean children. I mean creating your life together, right? Building a future together, getting to understand each other deeper and deeper, getting to be more connected spiritually, be more connected emotionally, sharing ideas, sharing foods together, sharing going places together, sharing hobbies and interests together, intertwining your lives together. You know, it's just magical. And so there are benefits of being in a relationship. You know, I think with being hurt a lot in relationships, we can start to feel very distant. We can start to push the relationship thing away because we don't want to get hurt, and it's super scary. But when you look at like the benefits of relationship as well, they can be terrific and wonderful. But you have to have someone else that you can trust to take care of you, to hold your heart in their hand, and then, you know, and you hold their heart, they hold your heart. You just hold each other's hearts, and you know, you just really take care of each other. It should be like nurturing each other and just, you know, loving each other forever and being, you know, kind and polite to one another, right? Like, for me, because I have been hurt in relationships past, I like, it's only because I really like someone at the moment that I can see the benefits more of a relationship that I've ever been able to do before, because, you know, it's kind of like, that's how I feel. And so for me, I'm able to see that again now, which I couldn't really see before so much. So, you know, that's kind of an awakening for me, if you like. But obviously, I feel this about the person, you know, doesn't mean to say they're going to feel the same necessarily. But, you know, this is the way I feel. And I think it's okay, you know, if you feel something for someone, you know, you feel it for someone, right? And, you know, like, I think that if you love someone, whether they love you back or not, hopefully they do love you back just as much. But just to feel love for that person, for them to know they're loved, I just think it's an incredible thing for them. You know, you're giving love to a person. It's like for me, love is the ultimate thing. Like, we are here on planet Earth really for love, right? We come into this world with just ourselves. We go out with ourselves. But I mean, if we have a relationship, we might end our lives holding the hands of the person we love, which to me is a lot more beautiful thing, going out of life like that, than it is dying alone on your own, right? I would rather be with someone who loves me, holding my hand at the end of my life, than just thinking I stayed single because I've been hurt in a relationship before and I didn't, you know, it was too scary to be in a relationship ever again, you know. And yeah, you know, I would like to be with my person that I'm meant to be with, you know. I was with my grandma at the end, right? My granddad wasn't there anymore, and I was holding her hand at the end, right? So she had me, even though she didn't have a husband, right? But she had someone who loved her, right? And so the whole point is that, you know, if you think about, you know, do you really want to be single forever? Is that what you really want? If you do, go for it. But if you are considering like being in a relationship, just think of it as a beautiful thing, you know. Like I said, you know, your parents are not going to be around forever. I've got a friend who's not asexual, and I've said to him before, you know, your parents not going to be around forever, right? There's going to probably be a time in your life when you're actually going to want to be in a relationship with someone, because you're going to want that companionship. You're going to want someone to be there for you, because obviously if you live with your parents or a parent, you kind of have someone there for you all the time. If something happens to them, they're not going to be there. Like, who else is going to be there? Obviously, you should be self-sufficient to take care of yourself and not need to be in a relationship, because you don't just want to get into a relationship with anyone for a need. But there's a big difference between I just get into a relationship because I need someone, and actually I would love a relationship with the right person because I feel it's the right thing for me to do and to be an experience. You know, like, there are some parts in the past of a relationship that I enjoyed. There are a lot of parts I didn't, but there are some that I really loved, right? But if you get with the right person and you work together and you develop together and grow together as people, then, you know, it's something beautiful. It's like a beautiful flower that you are watering from the roots all the way up, and it's the flower is opening up and the petals are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and, you know, you're just like thinking, God, this is beautiful. This is like this beautiful flower that I've always wanted to smell and to touch and to taste and to be close to, and it's got velvety texture, and it's just like my type of flower, you know. And maybe you love chocolate and it's your type of chocolate, right? And so, you know, it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous, and you want to hold it forever in your hand. You're like, wow, this is so magical, right? I'm getting into really deep stuff here, as you notice, because it's just like I feel love, you know. When you feel love so strongly and you experience it, you think about it, you experience it, you kind of like just know how love is, right? And that's how I feel, right? And so I've loved doing this video for you. I don't want to stop talking about love because I just like going off on one. Love is so amazing. Like, yeah, I could talk about it all night, I think. But yes, anyway, I think I need to leave the video on a nice love high. And thank you so much for watching. I just want to say, don't forget, Sam has found their asexual life partner after searching for them for 8 years. They took the opportunity when it presented itself to be with the person they were always meant to be with. So please, if you do want a relationship, be proactive about it. Don't be reactive. Go after what you want. But if someone comes into your life, because they're being the proactive one, they show up, think, my God, I'm so lucky. I am so fortunate right now that this person chose me, right? They've got lots of stuff going on in their life. I've got lots of stuff going on in my life. But how can we team up together to give each other the best life together forever, right? This is the way you need to be thinking, right? Attractions can come and go, or attractions could, you know, don't sustain a relationship, right? But love is forever lasting. Love can see you through tough times together, and you can get through anything, right? Because when you have love, you just have that beautiful connection with someone. It's just magnificent, right? And it's something to be treasured and cherished forever. Remember, we only get the one life. So if you meet this person that you love so much, don't let them go. Hold them as a precious, precious treasure, gem, forever in your heart and your hands. And don't let them go. Be appreciative, be grateful and thankful. Love them always. And always ask how we can improve the relationship. How can we make things better between us? How can we be more loving, caring, giving, sharing? And how can we just have the best life ever? Because you deserve it. Asexuals deserve love. That's another thing I have to point out before I go. Don't think just because you're asexual that you don't deserve love. Asexual love is really real. Love without sex is really real. You deserve happiness. Even if you've had bad relationships before, even more so you deserve happiness, because it's your time, right? It's your time to be happy. You're worthy of love, you deserve love, you have the right to have someone love you and be loved back, right? And yes, it might be scary, but on the other side of being scared, your dreams await you. So do not let them go. Be determined to succeed and go after your dreams and get them, and cherish them forever. Cherish that loved one forever. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this amazing, beautiful night love stream. Love stream? I'm calling it a love stream instead of a live stream. Oh my God. It's a love stream, isn't it? It's a very beautiful love stream. So yes, and don't forget, I want to thank people being in chat as I always do. Thank you to Ahmed, who's been a great chatty friend to me tonight. Really beautiful person. And thank you so much, Sam, as well as my best friend, and Jay Star. Hello to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to love yourself. Is still the most important thing in life, is to love yourself. Very, very important. And then you can give love out to other people once you love yourself. Anyway, take care. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that great big subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live, like now, or post a new video. Always embrace your quirky, embrace your inner ace. Always be you, because no one does you better than yourself, because you're so unique, so special, and someone will love you for exactly who you are. Till next time, take care. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.